Xenoverse 2 is approaching 9 years of operation. 9 years of one of the most successful Dragon Ball games on the market. And one of the most marketable and known things about Xenoverse 2 is its vast variety of characters, not even including your CAC. This game has one of the biggest rosters in any Dragon Ball game, rivaling even the Budokai Tenkaichi games. But something you may have not known is even beyond that insane roster is a plethora of cut characters that you may have not known even existed inside this game that are fully functional and playable. That's what we're going to go into today. We're going to take a deep dive into the cut characters of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. I hope you enjoy. Before we get into it though, when I say cut characters, I'm talking about specific characters that do not appear anywhere in the game. So I'm not talking about characters like NPCs or bosses, like the Great Apes, Cell Max, or even Second Form Cell. I'm also not talking about variations, like Rage Trunks, the Xenoverse 1 villainous characters, or even Hellfighter 17 who appears in a parallel quest as a variation of Android 17. I'm also not talking about portrait characters like Dr. Hedo or the Universe 6 vs 7 announcer and Monica from the Universe 6 vs 7 tournament either. I'm specifically talking about characters that never show up in gameplay. So I'm talking, for example, for our first example we're going to go into is Elder Kai. Elder Kai is never seen as an actual fighter. He's only ever seen in the story for story-related events, or even in Xenoverse 1 as a mentor, who allowed you to unlock potential unleashed. So those are the types of characters we're going to go into, and boy oh boy, you are not going to be expecting some of the characters we're going to go into today, so of course, as I said, we are going to be starting us off with Elder Kai. And sorry, one more thing before we get into it, but this is important. I would just want to give a huge thank you to Demon Boy's Xenoverse ID Google spreadsheet. This video would not have been possible without this spreadsheet. Thank you, Demon Boy. The link is in the description. So Elder Kai is pretty interesting, as a lot of these characters, and a common theme you will see with most of these characters, are, if you look at their stance, you might recognize it. A lot of these characters, of course, were never meant to be playable. And of course they have models for cutscenes and everything, but their stances. Well, a lot of these NPC characters on these cut characters, they use movesets existing in the game already. So Elder Kai, for our first example, he actually takes the moveset of the female Majin. He has the exact same combo strings, exact same grabs, and the exact same everything as the female Majin. However, this is where he differs. Of course, his name is unique. He has his own portrait because, you know, he talks in story parallel quests and has his portrait displayed on screen many a time. But something interesting about most of these cut characters are they actually don't have any stats. What I mean by that is take a look at Elder Kai's ki and stamina and health. All these characters have identical stats, and that's because in the file that dictates the character stats, these guys don't have entries. And when characters don't have entries, the game just defaults to these random stats, and it makes the characters really fast. They do a lot of damage to vanilla characters, but they also take a lot of damage as well. They have completely maxed out ki and stamina, and they have a decent amount of HP. I guess it's just like a failsafe in case like the stats don't load on characters. But when I say a character doesn't have any stats, this is what I'm referring to. Elder Kai, he's a bit of a vanilla cut character. He pretty much behaves exactly like, you know, you would expect a female Majin clone to behave. He's not really that interesting. His skill set, as you probably have seen, he actually takes the skill set, and this is a very common theme as well with these characters. These characters, of course, don't have skill sets programmed into the game file. So these characters actually take the skill set of the enemy you're fighting. So in this case, Elder Kai takes Gohan's moveset, and he can use his skills and even transform, but obviously, as you can see, it doesn't work properly. But it is really fun. But enough yapping about Elder Kai, let's move on to the next character, and oh boy, this is an interesting one. So next up, we have Shenron. Yes, Shenron, the Eternal Dragon. He is playable, technically. This character, he's pretty busted, and not in the good way, as you can very well tell. So this Shenron is weird. When you try moving him, he ends up in a T-pose, and he does move sometimes, but like it's really jank. And he obviously, you know, because how big this character is, he actually doesn't use a moveset of any existing character. With a few of these characters, without showing my hand too much, this Shenron can't fight. No matter what you do, he can't actually fight. He's really fast, he has no stats, like I was talking about with Elder Kai. He also does the same thing as these NPC characters. He takes the skill set of the enemy you're fighting. Something you can obviously tell too is the camera's like super messed up on him. And because of his no stats, and because like the way the model is, and I don't know if the stats are even more broken, but you can just see how fast Shenron is. Like he just zooming around like crazy. He technically has his own stance, but his stance is used in like the Shenron Wish animation. Next up, we actually have Supreme Kai of Time. you might be like, wait, just a second. Supreme Kai of Time's already playable in the game. And yes, you are correct, but this one has actually existed even before the official Supreme Kai of Time was added into Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. This Supreme Kai of Time was in the game since Xenoverse 1, actually. And unlike the playable counterpart, this one has a lot of differences, so let's go into them really quickly. So the model's of course the same with the portrait, but as you can tell by the stance and everything, she actually doesn't have her own moveset. She actually uses, it's just a clone fighter of Cell Jr. She also takes the enemy skill set, similar to Shenron and Elder Kai. However, in the footage you see, I'm using a mod that actually gives her skills that she wouldn't otherwise have. She would normally just take the skills of the enemies, so make sure to keep that in mind. Though she does not have a voice, unlike her playable counterpart, as this character was in the game years and years beforehand. So this next one is, this one actually blew me away. So, next up is Gohan, 4 years old. This Gohan doesn't appear anywhere in the game. Now, I might just be a Xenoverse boomer at this point, but I'm pretty sure he was just in a early cutscene, this exact Gohan model. However, I can say for a fact that this Gohan's actual name has not been shown at all inside of Xenoverse anywhere. This Gohan is actually called Gohan 4 years old, which is not what Kid Gohan is called. Kid Gohan is just called Kid Gohan. This guy is actually called Gohan 4 years old. In the actual game, when you load in, you'll notice he has his own intro, but it's him just like being grabbed. It's just an unfinished intro. But speaking of unfinished, unlike borrowing a moveset like Supreme Kai of Time did with Cell Jr., this Gohan's moveset is actually unfinished. It's unique to him, but it's broken. A lot of the combo strings don't work properly, a lot of the camera angles don't work, a lot of the combos just drop. This Gohan, I assume, was meant to be playable at one point, but he was scrapped. He has his own name as well. Remember, Gohan 4 years old. He is like the other NPCs who takes the enemy's skill set, but this Gohan actually seemed to have some work put into him. He also has no voice, of course. Next up, we have Dende. So Dende is, he's pretty vanilla for the most part, but something about Dende is he uses a moveset similar to, Supreme Kai of Time, Elder Kai, and whatnot. He borrows a moveset from an existing character. Dende here actually borrows his moveset from Omega Shenron of all characters. You can tell because of his stance. And something here about Dende is he's always in the air. Even when standing, he's always in the air because of Omega Shenron's model animations. Omega's obviously a very big model. And because of the way Dende's model size is scaled with the animation files, he's always in the air for some reason. I don't know why they gave Dende Omega Shenron's animations, fight style, and not like Cell Jr. like Supreme Kai of Time. His grab actually doesn't have a ki blast like Omega Shenron's does, it's just invisible. Other than that, he's pretty much the exact same. He has his own portrait and name and everything because he, shown in the story. Other than that, Dende's a pretty bland and just kind of stock standard NPC. Next up, we actually have a very, very interesting NPC. Or might I say two NPCs. Toki Toki. Yeah, Toki Toki is actually an NPC in this game. In-game, though, Toki Toki cannot fight. Every time you try attacking with the character, he gets locked and you can't move at all, and you have to restart the match in order to gain control over Toki Toki again. The weird thing is, whenever he tries dashing towards an opponent, the character freezes. And the only way you can unfreeze is by pressing the A button or the jump button. But that's about it. That's the only thing he can do. If you try throwing a ki blast, it actually gets stuck on his model. And if you try doing a charge ki blast, the game just completely crashes. Like other NPCs, Toki Toki here actually takes the enemy's skill set as well, just kind of like all the other NPCs. And of course, he has no voice either, which is, to be expected. But funnily enough, Toki Toki has his own other variation, where it's just him but bigger. This bigger variation isn't anything to write home about in terms of being creative, but something funny about this variation is his name is actually just unknown character instead of Toki Toki. Not sure why they didn't just give this one the name Toki Toki, but it's just one of the many mysteries of Xenoverse 2. Oh boy, next up is, I'd just say prepare your eyes for this next one. Next up is Guru. Yeah, Guru. He's expected to be playable because he's actually seen it quite a bit, and he's in the hub world of Xenoverse 2. So Guru here, he's very similar to Dende. He actually has his own stance. His own stance of, him just sitting on his chair. But the similarities with Dende start where he also uses Omega Shenron's moveset. Like Dende and all the other not bosses, but cut characters. Guru here actually has no voice either. He has no stats. I should also mention, like Toki Toki and every single character we talked about had no stats like Elder Kai. Like like most of the other NPCs and everything, he actually takes the moveset of the enemy you're fighting. So I'm fighting Frieza here, so he would take Frieza's moveset, but I'm using a mod like Supreme Knife Time, which adds in some moves to Guru, where Guru actually, he's using different attacks than what you would expect, but he would normally, in a vanilla game, have first form Frieza skills right here. But Guru fights the exact same as Dende and Omega Shenron, so there's not really too much to cover. It's just Guru, his model is so big that like the camera just clips through him. It just doesn't work. The game just like tweaks out, even in photo mode, when trying to like even get footage of this guy. You can't even zoom out properly because his model is just huge. It's just really goofy watching Guru do all these attacks with his giant model. It's so dumb. Moving on along to the next NPC, we actually have a Bulma. Bulma, to be completely honest, isn't all that special. Her most noteworthy trait is that she actually has two variations, just two different time periods of Bulma herself. She behaves like Android 18, she has no stats like, all the other characters. Weirdly enough, in the footage, you can see that the two Bulmas are fighting, but their skill sets reflect Trunks and Frieza. My best guess for what's going on here, it's taking characters that I, previously picked, and it's like they stored them somewhere in the memory, and it's just like reading those characters as the last picked characters for the player. Literally, I was just using these two characters, in this, bulk recording session of testing out all these characters, so I think that's what's going on here. But I haven't seen that before, so I assume this is how it would work with all the other characters. If they can't detect a moveset, it'll either just go to whatever, I guess, is in memory, or it'll just, for example, if you first start the game and you just pick two of these characters together, like two NPCs, it'll just give them no skills at all, even though it shows a bunch of Kamehamehas on the character select screen. So next up, we actually have like the little reception robot from the, the Parallel Quest desks and stuff in the shops. No hidden movesets here, no unfinished movesets like Gohan, just a pretty standard NPC, all things considered, like every other NPC. He has no stats, no name. He takes the moveset of the enemy he's fighting, or I guess in the regards of, he can just take it from the last character you picked. This character does, funnily enough, use Kid Gohan's moveset, which, does fit this character. It makes me wonder why Dende got Omega Shenron, but that's about it with this robot character. Moving on is a character that I actually found surprising that is still playable. He does have a model, so it makes sense, but it's Frog Ginyu. Frog Ginyu is just, like every other character. He takes the moveset of the enemy he's fighting. He uses Kid Gohan's moveset, similar to the CC History robot. Some moves actually crash the game, though, with Frog Ginyu, which I found pretty funny. I don't know why. I get it with Shenron because his model's just so big, but I don't know why it crashes with Frog Ginyu. His model, kind of glitches out, though, because, he uses Kid Gohan's moveset, and when he runs, you can see his legs kind of, extend unnaturally. It's kind of creepy, actually. This Frog Ginyu actually uses Captain Ginyu's name, though. It doesn't use unknown character, which I find pretty peculiar, because Frog Ginyu is never shown, and he's never shown to speak to my knowledge, so him having, the Captain Ginyu in his name is pretty funny, how he doesn't just have unknown character like some other characters. Next up is, I don't know why this exists. It's the Saiyan Pod, the vehicle, right? But, why is it playable? Why is the Tao Pai Pai stick not playable if this is playable? It's not anything other than just the absurdity of it and the suspicions of disbelief you need to believe that this is actually a playable character, technically. He behaves like, just literally every other NPC. But he does use Goku's moveset, which I found quite funny. I guess it's literally just the default, absolute bare bones literal skeleton of an NPC you can get. No stats, takes the moveset of the enemy you're fighting. Just such a strange character. Has unknown character as his name because, it's obviously not shown anywhere in the game. Of course, I forgot to mention this earlier, but the little reception robot also has unknown character as well in his name because that character never is shown to be speaking with his name visible, which is why he has unknown character, but nothing else noteworthy other than the absurdity. Well, let's move on. Next up is Giru. So Giru is, unfortunately, I would like to, be a bit more, oh my gosh, this character is so fire, but it's just the little robot receptionist, literally the same exact thing. But Giru does have his own portrait, and he does have his own name as well, because he's shown in the story to be speaking. Other than that, nothing else to write home about here, let's move on. Next up is something that I wasn't even going to put in this video. For doing some digging and experimenting a bit with this character, I just had to include it. So next up is FOF. This character is very strange. This character is used to display the little unknown portrait icon on quest screens. You see in Expert Mission 20 here, Harbinger of Doom, the little portrait that you're fighting. That character is shown, to be a question mark. That's this character's ID. if you try loading him into the game, it actually registers him as a playable character, and weirdly, it actually makes him a male Saiyan CAC. And not any male Saiyan. It's actually meant to be the mascot of Xenoverse 1, but with alternate colors for some reason. I've loaded in a few times, and his color palette has changed every single time. So other than that, though, he does behave just, as a normal male Saiyan CAC. However, something extremely, peculiar is his name. It doesn't look, on the surface it looks normal, like unknown character, but his name is actually not unknown character. It's called question mark, question mark, question mark. This is because this exact character model, this exact character ID is used in Quest, used as a call in Quest to make it so a character that speaks is meant to be anonymous. So for example, if a character is about to arrive and the Quest doesn't want to spoil who it is, it'll actually use this character's ID to display question mark, question mark, question mark with the little no portrait thing going on with this character to hide the identity of a character. It's so weird how a little placeholder character is used in this way, but he actually functioned, which is the crazy part. And not only does he just function as a normal male Saiyan CAC, but his moveset is completely broken. He does behave as a normal male Saiyan CAC. However though, while he does behave as one, his combos don't work properly. They drop randomly. I don't know why. It could just be this is an early build of a Saiyan CAC, animations and fight style, but I did find that peculiar when testing out this character. And last but not least, you could say, we have Oolong. He was added in the Breakers update, and he is not really anything. Funnily enough, he doesn't display on the character select screen. He has no portrait either on the character select screen. However, though, when you load into fight, he actually does have a model. His model works. He does have his own portrait too, because, he seemed to be talking in quests. But this character cannot fight. He's completely immobile. You can move around as him and jump and everything, but he has no ki blast and you cannot punch. He can't grab, he can't throw ki blast, but weirdly enough, the only offense this character can do is use a rush ki blast. His charge ki blast, which is a rush. He can use that, but that's his only offensive capabilities that this character can do. He can't attack otherwise. Like every other NPC, he does take the enemy's moveset or skill set, and you can use that to make him attack. But even then, he gets stuck in an animation, whatever the last frame of the animation of the move you just used was, he gets stuck in that as his walking animation. It's really strange how this guy works. And that's about it, guys. That's about it for the NPCs, or the uncut characters of, the cut characters of Xenoverse 2. I hope you all enjoyed and learned something new today about characters you didn't know existed or were playable in Xenoverse 2. But anyway, guys, I'm all out of time. Feel free to let me know your feedback in the comment section below, and anything, you like, any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave them down there. But fellas, I'm all out of time today. I will see you all next time. Peace out.